Hey guys, it's Miss Smith again, and we're gonna move to the next level of 1 point perspective. So instead of doing cubes and rectangular prisms, we're now going to do shapes that are not necessarily straight. We're gonna start working with different shapes. So I'm gonna put a vanishing point in the center. Again, I'm not going to work with a horizon line. We'll add the horizon line in when we do a city, because we'll do a city later on a different day. Okay, so let's say I had like a triangle. Okay, so again, corners go to the vanishing point, just like they did before. But now the lines are at a different angle because they still have to match. What happens between these two sections, what happens here, has to happen here. Has to be parallel, has to be the same. What happens here, happens here. And then I erase the rest. If you ever think yours looks a little strange, like it doesn't look quite right, it's usually this back part that's not right, just like I said in yesterday's video, okay? So then how would we do something that is round? Okay. Ooh, that was a pretty good freehand circle, I will say. Okay, so you'll take whatever is on the edge. You don't want to go below it and you don't want to go through it. And again, if you have a straight edge that you can use, a folder or a ruler, that does make it easier. Okay, so you'll see that that line just goes right on that edge. Now what's between the two lines is a curved line. So you do a curved line. And what it's going to make is a cylinder. If you were actually making a sphere, a ball, you wouldn't actually take that to linear perspective. That has to you have to shade that. Let me show you what it looks like if you do it with just a straight line, which would be incorrect. Okay, so that one's not correct. A little tip, sometimes it's hard for people to make it look correct when they do it close up. I find that the further back you take it, the smaller it is. And so it looks more correct if you feel like mimicking that curve is hard for you. Just take it back further and it looks cooler. Okay, and more precise. All right, so I'm going to draw like a blob. All right, now I'm going to take all of its edges. So this one's much more complex. Let me scoot it up. It's kind of out of the camera there. Okay, so I'm going to take an edge. Try to get it as straight as I can. Take that edge. This edge. And this edge. Now, when I take this edge to here, because this would go behind that, when I touch it, I'm going to stop drawing. And one of the rules that we usually teach is if it goes through it, don't do it. So it doesn't go through it here, but it does go through it if I were to keep going. So that's where I know to stop. Okay. So now I've got a lot happening. So what's happening here? Okay, so that one goes there. Now, I'll probably need to do a simpler shape after this one, but this and this don't touch, so I can't bring this line all the way back there because that kind of looks weird. It doesn't really look like what's happening. So this is higher than this, so then the back also has to be higher. So I'm going to end it lower. So see, that's higher, lower, higher, lower. Same thing's going to go here. This is higher and this is lower. And these are about the same level on each side. So I know they're going to be about the same level on this side too. Okay. And then to make this as deep as that, this would end back there. So I don't have anything I have to do here. I'll show you some more complex shapes because complex shapes are complex, so it makes them a little bit more tricky. Okay, so that looks kind of cool. All right, let's see. Let me do an arrow. Okay, so I'm going to take that corner. I'm going to take this corner. And this one right here, it's kind of an inverted corner. I'm going to take this one. Ooh, I even have a little bit of that one. Anytime it gets like right in this cross of the vanishing point, you're going to notice it gets real skinny. So if you draw one, since you guys are drawing your own pages, if you've got one, you'll notice it gets really skinny. Okay, so I've got all of this happening. Okay, so this is slanted, so this has got a slant. Then it goes down, so that has to go down. And since they touch here and here, they're going to touch back here too. This one goes over, and then this one comes down. Let me darken these lines here so you can see it. And since this is going behind, I won't end that one. It'll end back here, but we can't see it. So we leave it alone. Now, sometimes you're going to do a difficult, a more complex shape. And right now, as a beginner, you just might not know that you need to add certain lines. And that just comes with practice. Let's see. What's another one that I can do? Let's do a letter. So let's say if I was going to do the letter T. Take my corners. Make sure, I know most of us are doing this freehand without an edge. Make sure that you're angling them to this point. Angling them here, and they're just going this direction, but they're really wide. It won't look as correct because it won't be as precise. So you really want to try to get it to angle to that point as precisely as possible. All right, so I'm going to do this one thin so that this edge has a side to it too, okay? So if I end this one a little bit more thin, let's make it about right there. This line and this line, I drew it a little crooked, but let's pretend they're the same. They're at the same level, so this and this will be at the same level. Since these two touch at that corner, then I know to make them touch here. Same, they touch. And then these touch, so I'm going to come up. All right, so that's where I would see that edge. Now let me erase it, and I'm going to make this T thicker. Make it really thick. So if I were to take this T, all right, and make it real thick, let's do it all the way down here. Okay, I'm still going to go over and touch, go over and touch. But because of the depth I added here, that would also be just as deep, so I don't actually end that one. Okay, that's what I was talking about when we looked at these over here. If I did it skinny, if I made a thin shape, let's make it thin. Then I would have to do that one. If it's thin, I would have to do that one. But if it's thicker, you don't. So another tip to make it easier, if you make all of your shapes very deep and make them long, then those little edges like that, you don't have to do anything to those. So that's kind of an insider cheat as well. Okay, so for today's assignment, I want you to do a number of irregular shapes. Now, you can do something like I've done, and I think 5 is probably a good number for this. We'll do 5. I think you could do something like this. You can make up your own. You do not have to do the same forms I do, but you want to do something that's not a square or a rectangle so that it's different. And you don't want to get too crazy. Now, if you want to do your name, you could do your name. Let me flip this over and I'll give you some tips on that. So if you wanted to do your name in block letters for today, that would probably be great too. So My first name is Lisa. So I'm going to write my name in block letters. L. I. And you could make them touch or not touch. That's up to you. Aren't S's just like the craziest to draw? I know I usually do them a couple of times before I get the lines I like. Then I just erase the lines I don't like and keep the ones I do like. If you do your name and you have less than 5 letters in your name, that's fine. I'm not being so picky that I'm going to count off just because there's 4 letters in my name. But if you wanted to, you could also add like a shape at the end. If you feel like you need to add the 5th element, you could do that. Okay. A little trick if you're going, well, I want to do my name, but I'm not good at block letters. 2 tricks. I'll do it up here in this corner. One thing that you can do is with some letters, like an L, well, you just double it, you know, or if you had an O, well, you just double it. Another trick that works is what I call drawing a bubble around it. So you draw your letter and then outline it and kind of put it in a bubble. And then erase your letter on the inside. And if it has a hole in it, like an R does, you just add your hole. Okay. But like an M, you can just double that. Okay. So you can kind of practice with that. Again, you don't have to do letters, but a lot of times I have kids who want to. And then I would add my vanishing point, and your vanishing point can go anywhere you want it to go. Just remember that you only have one, because we're doing 1 point perspective. So you only have 1 point. You should never have 2 vanishing points on any of these assignments that we're doing so far. So we're just going to have 1 vanishing point. And then I'm going to take my letters to the vanishing point. I line that I up right with that vanishing point, so I'm not going to have one from there or from there. Take the edges from the S, then take the A. So some of these are going to be covered up because of the overlapping, because I made them touch, they're going to overlap a little bit. That lines up right with that, so I wouldn't see it. Okay, so let me finish it off now. I'm going to do these kind of deep because, again, it does make it easier. All right, so there's my L. Now, I can't see where this part ends because the I overlaps it and covers it up. Since this line and this line are pretty much at the same level, I'm going to make them the same level back here too. Now, since I did it so deep, I can't end it here either because it's being overlapped. So that's done. Make these a little longer. Okay, what's between the lines is curved. So what's between the lines is curved. Could I see that? Maybe just a tad right there, but not a whole lot. Oh, I'll miss this one. There'd be a line right there. Just a little bit. Okay. You know what? I don't think that's quite angling towards my vanishing point, so I'm going to do that one again. Okay. Again, these are kind of in line in the front, so I'm going to make them in line in the back. This angles down, so it'll angle down. Oh, I forgot this one. And actually, you'd have one right in there too. Okay, let's see. Can I see that? Nope, it would go behind the S, so I don't have to do that. And then my heart is the only thing that's left. Again, I didn't quite angle them as far as I probably needed to, so I'm going to fix those lines a little bit. Whoop. You wouldn't see that. Even though I really want it to happen, it lines up right with that. So here we go. That's all you do. And I've got my name. Okay. So again, you can do your name, or you can do, it's upside down, or you can do just random objects. Don't make them too complicated, and just kind of practice and play around with it. If you want to do more than 5, then that's fine. If you're doing your name and your name has like 4 letters, that's fine. But if your name only has like maybe 2 letters, then let's add some shapes around it. Okay. All right. Message me if you have any questions, and good luck. Bye, guys.